today we have a very exciting day. I have a very special guest. Her name Ahava, and she's a good friend. And she was one of my clients. We did a few astrological readings together. And while I was talking to Ahava, and I really love this age group, the young people who really growing spiritually, who really understand spirituality on such a pure and deep level, especially the new generations. And I really love Ahava's questions. And we kind of discussed and decided it's going to be good to bring this question to the world and perhaps other young people, or in general, not just young people, we're all young in the soul, can have same questions, and perhaps it can answer to some of your questions. So we're going to start today our video, and I'm going to have a surprise. We discussed I didn't really prepare. I just, we discussed with Ahava, so she's going to a little bit introduce herself, a little bit maybe whatever you want to say about yourself, and then what kind of questions you can have. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for introducing me. So my name is Ahava, and I did my natal chart. I think I did 2 sessions with Esther. And Esther, when I was doing them with you, they made me think of the world in a completely different way in terms of how I can be empowered as a creator in my own life, that I've never thought of before. So I have a lot of questions today about what our birth chart can tell to us, how it can empower us in our own lives, and why astrology is an important tool for anyone to use.
So definitely very big, deep questions. We can start today just to kind of step by step, and especially for those people who tune in right now to listen to our video, we all know about astrology. I don't think there's any person in the world who never heard what is astrology, at least the basics, right? Of course, with astrology we have 12 signs, and each of us, when we're born, we receive specific blueprint. I call this as a blueprint, and this blueprint as a program, giving us a foundation and the way how we behave, and giving us a foundation how we see the world, what family we choose, what different characters, and as well even on our physical body, how the health can be affected. Now, we definitely, the astrology, it's been such a big topics and very almost like a popular astrology, right? Especially Western astrology as well. So I just really want to go just a little bit to the basic, what kind of astrology I represent. So at least people will, especially those people who really new to my channel. So I do not practice Western astrology. The Western astrology, I remember when I was initially, when I started to study astrology, I was, I think, 13 years old. I actually start from astronomy. I started to study astronomy before I studied astrology. Yes, I was, no, I was 14 years old, and I remember I went to university. A few of my friends who was older than me was studied at university, and they told me they have a special course free for any outsider can go and attend different lectures about astronomy. So I was already 14 years old. I was really interested in the sky. And if you can watch my previous videos, a little bit about myself, about my background. So my spirituality been really, I can easily say, activated inside of myself. As I remember, maybe I was 5 years old, 6 years old. I remember when I was 7 years old, I actually did my first palm reading for one of my friends. Just, yes, it was so interesting. Now,
Does no one teach you how to do it?
no, never, right? So it's just when you really connect to your soul, especially don't forget when you young, when you little, especially under age 13, you're really channeling, you connect to the purity of everything what's happened, and your mind not corrupted yet with so many ideas, right? And so many programs. So you can more easily connect to your nature, which is really important, to your intuition, to your soul, so to say. You can hear better and feel better before so many conditions can come from outside world. Now, come back to your question, just a little bit to simplify, because I don't study Western astrology. I study Western astrology as well, and then I realized something not, working together with the sky, directly with the sky. And as you know, I study and teach Kabbalah for many years. I study Kabbalistic knowledge closer to now this year it's 29 years. And when I start to study spirituality and Judaism, I start, before even I start to study in depth Judaism, before I study Feng Shui, I study Buddhism, I study Hindus, like I really, and Christianity, of course. I was interesting in worldly where people coming from to understand them better, not just impose on people my idea, what is the right,
Yeah.
I think. I really to understand what is the foundation, what is their childhood, where they came from, right? So this is why astrology, when I start to study astrology, as myself, I consider myself a kind of multi-layer person. I took astrology very seriously, and I really want to go depth and understand what is this as a tool, as a practical tool. Because from really early age, I always knew I'm not here to follow because I've been told by somebody. So I kind of always been rebellion.
Yeah.
Now I understand it's actually good for a soul, because this is when you push the others' agenda and other people programs and imprint, and you really start to kind of stay with yourself and start to ask your questions. Really, what is really truth for me, right? Again, as I always say in my every video in the beginning, I always want to tell to everyone, please remember, whatever information I'm going to share with you, do not take it as as 100%. It's my truth. It's not necessary truth for you, Ahava. It's not necessary truth for anyone else. But what I'm sharing my inner wisdom, things I put together with all the knowledge I have when I study Torah. Torah. It's not Bible. I never call Torah Bible, but if a lot of people don't know, Torah, it's a very important numerology and very important letters, which is represent Torah as a Etz Chaim, as a tree of life reality. And Bible, it's made from the two letters, they repeat well, Bet Lamed, Bilbul, right? A lot of people don't even put connection together. But if you think about when you pronounce Bible, it's almost you pronounce Bilbul, which is confusion.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
whatever, yeah. So this is why we cannot really call Torah Bible. We're going to continue call Torah. Now, for myself, as I inject spirituality in everything what I do, I never come from place of religiosity, because for me it represents very narrow narrative, which is again trying to control our own soul, the freedom of our choice, and understanding the creation. Now, because I have all this knowledge from so many different corners, when I start to apply to astrology, I start put things together and realize how astrology as a program really can make you or completely slave and depend on your own chart, or when you really understand your natal chart, when you really start to work with specific concept, with specific aspects you have in your chart, and look at your natal chart, not as a personal and emotional, and look at your own natal chart as an outsider, as a movie director, and not as an actor who involved, you can achieve tremendous progress. You can understand yourself on completely different level, and you can really improve so many things in your life, and therefore the goal, my goal and my mission, and I right away want to say in the end of the process, before we're going to tune in a little bit more about natal chart, my goal, my wish, and my internal prayer for every soul, eventually to really understand that the natal chart was given to us as a blueprint, as a program, which is attached to our ancestral lineage, attached to our past lives, and attached to so many conditions. Then as soon you understand how to work with, how to complete, I call this homework, was given imposed on us when we reincarnate again and again. Again, as you know, I cannot not to mention, I am big believer that we live in, I know for myself, it's it's not I think, or I perhaps I do know 100% from me at this particular moment, then we live in stimulation and complete program matrix, and astrology, it's part of the matrix we live in. Very powerful. It's called egregor, right? Egregors, again, in my previous videos, I explain more about what is the egregors, and we can make different separate with you have as well. If you want, we can discuss more in depth what is the energy of egregors, which is control different religions, which is control different families. Each family, each organization, each religious has his own egregor, which is identity, control and receiving energy from us, from our souls, especially when we're not aware, when we're giving our power away. So astrological chart is extremely important thing for us as a start point to understand why we came here, how to complete the assignment and start completely new destiny. This is the whole idea. The whole idea not to stuck with your astrological chart from through your birth. And every time something happens in the sky, you need to be dependent on it. You need to condition yourself. Really depends, how my moon right now, phases of my moon, how is my Mercury, and if Mercury retrograde right now, what's happened when the Saturn return. While we need to honor sky, and while we need to understand our astrological chart, while we're working on ourselves, we need to understand this is not who we are. This whole program was imposed on us when we were not aware of the full picture. Because each of our soul, I truly believe, we are so powerful. We're so tremendously big and huge. We came from such a different dimensions. We already built and create so many things, because to come to this dimension as a human in a human body, you really need to go through so many processes. You need to go through so many revelations and realizations, and to understand the creation in order for you to end up in human body as a final destination for this matrix, right? Because in this matrix reality, to be as a human, even though it's a lot of limitation comes with that, but while it's the body comes with a lot of limitation, when we wake up and we realize everything was imposed on us, all the conditions, it's not us, it's not who we are. This is why the first step for spiritual growth, for any spiritual being who really, which is every soul has a very powerful spirit, we just blindly been misled and we believe in something we are not. I do believe each soul is soon the first question you need to ask yourself: who am I? Who am I? Am I? And what is the truth? Truth for me. It's really important to ask this
So
question.
would you say that everyone can have their own individual truth? And then is there also a collective truth to the universe? Or is there different truths?
I believe first of all, there's a one unified truth, collective truth, like, for example, law of creations. Um, for example, from our own behavior, we know when we, even in our mind, wishing somebody negative, we actually attract into ourselves negativity, right? So there's a basic foundations as a law of creations. There's a truth. I always bring to as example sky. When you look at the sky and you can look at all the tremendous stars, how shine they are, but they all in darkness. And each star, each planet knows his own place, knows exactly why he's born and when is the time to go, and they not interfere with other stars because they know this place while they're free. So I comparing to us, to human soul. It's important for us to connect to the freedom of choice, to the freedom of our own intuition, and not to be dependent on other people condition. But while we experience and practice freedom, we need to honor what's happening around us. We need to honor other people's decisions, and each of us need to know the rules of creation. So this is real freedom. The freedom do not come when you just decide to be, monarchy, monarchy, like anarchy. Sorry, anarchy. It's like when you think the freedom is when you do whatever you want when you want. This is not freedom. It's chaos. But the real freedom, it comes when you open your heart, when you and start to first step, you understand other person before you judge, before you analyze, before you impose on anyone any of your ideas. Your only job here, number one, to understand, and number two, unconditional love. And people many times mislead themselves, or maybe perhaps they don't understand what is really mean unconditional love. I'm not talking about just to be nice and dandy, and and anyone needs you, you're right away there, but for them, no, 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 this is not unconditional love. Even how you share with people, how you give people and support and help, you really need to learn as well, because many times you can destroy them or give them too much, then you're taking away from them the choices and the power of the action, right? So it's all about the process. It's all about when we receive information, it's need to be converted to wisdom. Because if information not converted to wisdom, it's become another bookshelf like you have behind you, which is going to receive only dust or be just as a decoration. But the same book, when we read, we can really convert to wisdom and we can apply to our daily life. But again, if it's resonate with us, I always, when I work with tremendous souls, beautiful souls like your soul as well, I always take a big responsibility for myself and merit as well to understand while I share with you information, while I'm telling you things about your natal chart, I never giving you this is the ultimate truth. I'm just showing you with my knowledge, with everything what I know, with all the wisdom I apply together, Kabbalistic knowledge, Judaism, the knowledge of Sefer Yetzirah, book of formation, book of creation. You can say the first book was given to Abraham by Yudke Vavke. And which is really, really tremendous powerful energy we have here in this dimension. Again, it's a separate video. I can tell you after about my concept, what is really God represent for me, how I see God, and why it's helped me to completely reclaim my own freedom, how really helped me to understand things on completely different level when I came out from the matrix of religious and matrix of a lot of conditions imposed on us. Now, natal chart, it's a really beautiful, again, I always want us to remember, we're talking about matrix right now, right? There's different realities. There's a people who live in this reality who completely submit under the matrix, who completely believe then the only way for them to be happy is when they not just put restriction on themselves. It's when they're going to be good girl or bad or good boy, when they're going to listen or they're going to follow exactly what priest or rabbi told them, and the parents completely happy, while they never really ask themselves, what do I love? How I connect? What is really good represent for me? What is really love represent for me? What is really freedom, my own connection to the creation represent for me? So we're talking about the metrics, the reality we live in, and then if you start the process and understand its metrics, congratulations. This is your first step of real freedom. Then you're going to separate your natal chart, you're going to separate even the pain of your body from your soul. And it's very like a small steps. When you look at your natal chart and how the natal chart looks, right? We'll know it's looked like a piece of pie and it's divided on 12 pieces, right? In this metrics, numerology, it's a very powerful tool. Everything has a meaning because, when we say 12, 12, it's a tremendous meanings, right? We have a 12 as well. We have a 12 tribes, right? And then we have a 12 dimensions as well. And a lot of people, no, we actually have altogether in the astral reality, we have 13 dimensions, not 8, not 9, not 10, 11, 13. I can even explain that as well in our future videos. It's through the Kabbalistic knowledge as well, why it's 13. But numerology, for example, in Sefer Yetzirah, in the Kabbalistic astrology as well, I can say that's way. The bottom line for us, when we understand all 12 signs we have inside of our natal chart, in a nutshell, we came here to become 13 sign, which is what is 13th sign. When you're taking over all 12 signs, you become 13. You in control of all 12. And what is the 13 in Hebrew? Numerology, it's the word echad, one, unity, and ahava, which is your name. You see, ahava, it's numerology 13. So you understand? So 13 is really, really powerful numerology. Yeah. And 13, this is why, when, for example, when when Israeli in Jewish tribe celebrate Shabbat, right? When doing the chalot, which is bread, the bread we're doing a prayer on it. Usually, you need to have a 12 pieces on Friday night, especially.
I learned that recently, and I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, 12 pieces. It's need to be 6 pieces around, a female, and 6 pieces represent male energy, and as well they represent 12 sign of zodiacs. And the person who's doing prayer, he represent 13. Okay, this is all knowledge from Arya Kadosh, from really, really great soul, one of the greatest Kabbalists who came in 16th century, end of the 15th and 16th century. He left a short period of time, but he really brought Kabbalistic knowledge to the layman, because before him, the Kabbalah was really more academic, much more heavy, and was really coded. And one of the big Kabbalists before Arya Kadosh was Ramak, Rav Moshe Cardobello. He teach Kabbalah as well in Tzfat prior to Arya Kadosh. So when Arya Kadosh came, I always compare Arya Kadosh to Baal Shem Tov, another great Kabbalist who came in 16th, 17th century in Ukraine, because Baal Shem Tov brought Judaism from the place of heart. And this is why Arya Kadosh brought the knowledge of Kabbalah from the place of heart, which is placed first. Without love, without acceptance, whatever knowledge you have, it's not going to work. The first step, every time when you study, when you learn, if with whatever you study and you learn not make you someone more acceptable, to accept others, to understand other person's point of view, it's mean your knowledge not working for you. It's mean your knowledge start to work against you. And by the way, it's really known fact. I went through this process as well. We all need to know every time when we receive knowledge, every time we receive new information, with the knowledge and new information, we receive judgment. Why? Because we're suddenly more aware, we suddenly see more, especially what's wrong with others. And with that, we need to remember, it's a payment in a way. Yes, while you receive candy, with the candy, you need to know how to use the restriction. In a sense, so it's really important as well. So come back again to astrology. See, I cannot just talk about astrology because for me, astrology, it's everything. It's much, much bigger because it's really helping us to understand a lot of things about ourselves as a foundation when we're born here, until we're really coming out from the matrix and we really start to claim our true freedom back I believe without understand your natal chart, it's much, much harder. The natal chart can help you tremendously to literally jump to the next level much quicker, to understand yourself, to, we say in Hebrew, to work on your klipot, your negative certain shells, your negative aspects you receive with your assignment. Again, I'm not talking about soul. Soul is pure. Soul knows everything. We're talking about in this matrix when our soul receive another body, which is I call avatar. This beautiful body we have, right? Which is very complex on his own. There's a lot of things we can talk about. We can have another video about healing, how really can heal different parts of your body in a completely different way, how to understand your body different, how to communicate with your body. It's another thing, by the way, your natal chart can help you to understand why certain weakness you have in your body, because it's all showing on your natal chart. But again, unfortunately, through the century, natal chart astrology been used many times to manipulate people and to direct them to the purpose which is superior of kingdomships they used to have. For example, every king, every empire had astrologer as a right hand. Always. We need to ask why. Because when they saw certain alignment comes and certain, for example, difficult conditions come, they used to make announcements to people so people become more compressed and more under control of the stars. Because if astrologer says to king, no, 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 today king cannot go to the war, or today king cannot marry, we need to wait, everyone listen, and therefore people as well. So it's already been kind of, we ourselves agree upon all of these conditions. Now, while this part happened, I always say before you go in, let's say, out of something or against something, you need to learn about it. You cannot just reject, for example, yes, okay, so it's nice announcement. Esther says we are in matrix and we need to be in, yes, we are in matrix, but we need to know how the matrix works. Because this matrix, so powerful, but it's not more powerful than you, by the way. Our soul's much more powerful. What really I love about this cute matrix, okay, I will say, because when the matrix knows, then he starts to work with you. We're talking about quantum field. Yes, the quantum mechanics. It's another concept very important because when you're growing spiritually on a bigger scale, if you really want to go out of all the religious and egregors, all the other spiritual groups, all the other spiritual schools, which is all programs, it's all programs. We need to understand. But while we live here, we already end up here, and another story how we each time coming back here, right? I made few videos, but again, we can go in depth in few videos about reincarnation. Each time we're coming back, we return here, we return with so many programs. It's really hard we never remember where we came from, who we are.
So, but you're saying that the soul is pure, the soul's not coming back.
Soul, it's pure, but soul needs to use this body. Thank you for taking me back. My rising Gemini sometimes
It's okay.
for the place. This is why I'm really, I always, it's much easier for me to have, when I have somebody to communicate than actually to make video on my own. I always say for me to make video on my own, it's almost just talk to the camera. It's one thing. Thank you for reminding me. Our soul, you see, when our soul, in order for our soul to practice in this dimension, this dimension require vessel. Our body, our soul using this body as a vessel. As a vessel, which is through this vessel, the soul can practice what is to be creator. But it's another matrix. This explanation, what everyone explained, it's another matrix. You understand? So while I'm explaining to you, I'm not telling you this is another ultimate and the bigger scale truth. Because I do believe this particular dimension already went through, which is called Malchut in Hebrew, in Aramaic, the world we live in. It's went through so many different progress, so many different transformations. Then even our souls already, there's many souls feel tired, really tired to be here. You almost feel like you have almost sometimes lack of excitement of anything what's happened. It's almost okay, been there, done that. Especially if those souls feel this way, those souls already really finishing this process here, and they really ready to come out from this matrix and not to return, not to come back here. But in order for you to be prepared to face all the giants, spirits who's going to receive you each time when you leave this body and going to convince you and going to impose on you so much guilt and going to take your memory away and send you to the school, which is you always need to ask yourself what kind of school it is when your memory been taken away from you and all this additional energy clipot, all the programs, especially from your ancestral lineage, from your parents, from your previous lifetime, be put on you. So you already went through so much, you understand spirituality. Now again, you end up, you need to refresh your memory, which is not easy with so many conditions and programs. You understand, honey? So we need at least to, again, don't believe me. I'm not claiming my truth is ultimate truth, but at least hear it. There's a possibility. Then you are in such a trap and you're trying to come out, which is almost impossible because every time when you leave this body and you didn't finish your tikkun, whatever they assign, you received the assignment, every time when you leave, they constantly tell you, oh, no, you remember how bad you were to this person? You remember how you lie here or how badly you think? You feel so much guilt, you feel so much pain. They tell you.
So who is it that says that?
But you know, when we leave this dimension, there's such a thing called upper astrals, right? You probably hear a lot of people, they're going out of body experience, right? You probably a lot, right? Right now, especially in the age of so much communication, we have internet, we have YouTube. Right now, it's YouTube. It's like another university. Our parents or grandparents couldn't even dream of, right? And you can get so much information, which can confuse you, but at the same time, when you know how to listen to what you really need and to remove the noise, because there's a lot of noise on the internet, on YouTube, there's a new spirituality, there's so much imposed on you. So when I'm going to give you this example, because for myself, I had my own practice and experience, out of body experience, so I can speak from my experience. But there's thousands of people who's doing the out of body, and they go into different astrals, and when the different dimensions, when they leave the body, and the body just stay in the bed, and you're going in the upper levels, you're going to different dimensions. Depends how much you were able to remove fear. Remember, fear is the name of the game. In this dimension, fear is the number one drug for the upper level beings. There's a very, very powerful beings who initially create all this program. The whole initial program was created here, I believe, was the good foundation. Because if you really understand what the Torah, Torah been rereading many, many times. But the energy, the essence was given to Israelites' souls. At the time, there was no Jewish soul. There was Israelite souls, meaning who was receiving the Mount Sinai Torah, and our souls was put in the sleep in the Dharmita while we receive DNA of immortality. We receive almost like reminder, but like everything good. And Torah, it's a tree of life reality. There's a lot of code inside. There's a lot of information inside in order for us to be elevated. But by the way, Zohar, the holy book of Zohar, the Kabbalistic books, it says the person who understands Torah literally, he would better never born.
Wow.
It's a very powerful statement. And a lot of tzaddikim, actually, Kabbalists, used to say that. And why it says that? This is why all the war in separation happened in the world when people using amazing spiritual tools against humanity, against the free souls, just to make people even more slave by imposing on them a completely wrong idea. The separation between each other, who's better, who's worth, who has more entitlement, who's less. This is really, really, it's came to the point, as you can see, especially young souls like yourselves who really giants. You guys came from the future. When I cannot talk about your specific natal chart, it's your private information. But in general, when I do reading and I see the souls come to me, it's absolutely like sometimes I want just to scream and hug you and tell you, look who you are. Look how big you are, how tremendous you are. You already understood so many things. You really need to claim your freedom. The only way for us really to understand who we are, we need to start from place of freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom of every moment, everything what you do, it's what you do, not somebody imposed you or somebody idea, right? And whatever struggle you need to go through, beautiful. So you need to go through your own process. Whatever decision you will make, it's going to be your decision. And of course, when you're growing, and especially very important what environment you're growing. And again, we can see everything in your natal chart, why you choose certain parents, why you choose a certain environment, why you need to go through certain struggles. This is everything in your natal chart. But at the same time, you need to ask yourself, okay, so now because I have in my chart, now I need to stuck with this all my life? No. Now then you awaken. Now you look at all of this as a third party. you, I mean, as a body, your natal chart as a program, and your soul zoom out and absorb that, now you can actually start to really practice you as a creator. You understand? Because what's happened when you have so many programs in your natal chart, let's say your Mars in Pisces, and there's a special locations in the Pisces when it's a really difficult location for emotional. So this person most likely will experience through the life a lot of emotional turbulence. It's going to be ups and down. You even psychologically, even certain psychological and psychiatrist situation. You can have really big problem with how to control your nervous system, with your sleep, etc., and control, restrict your nervous, like so many things. Like it depends if for example, Pluto affecting Mars, and they both, and they in some special position. I'm just giving you as example. So now it's mean you stuck all your life, rest of your life, and you need to constantly, oh my God, now Mars retrograde, I'm gonna feel it's even more, or Mars right now going right now through certain position of moon, and it's no, you understand, it's a good to be, but what it's good, why this tool's amazing for you to be aware. When I work with you, remember, I'm giving a lot of homework, and we're working on a very specific points. When I see, first of all, I'm listening to you, but before I'm just telling you what I see, and then we have a conversation. And when I see when you repetition of things, right? For example, you know yourself. A lot of people actually, by the way, don't know themselves. They think they do, but they so stuck in the manipulation of so many energies. Sometimes you don't even know. Some people live all their life, they never get to the point to sit quietly, to have a quiet moment and simply ask who I am. What do I love? What really make me happy? Do I need to run right now? Do I need to right away answer my phone call only because, I'm going to feel guilt? No. We need to come to the place and surround ourselves with the people eventually who can work with your energy and you can work with their energy. First, respect. Extremely important. Respect, which is comes understanding, right? Understanding and respect, it's really live in the same room. Because when you respect someone, you automatically start to understand this person. Not accept what he's saying. It doesn't need to be your truth. But the first step to understand and to respect, it's really, really important. Because nobody knows what Ahava went through, what is your childhood, what is your thought process, how you're going to sleep at night, what you went through, how you to go. Each of us have our own unique way to go through a certain period of time, and we need to adapt to certain things. But when you start to work directly with the blueprint your soul agree upon, it's been imposed on you. I always say our natal chart has nothing to do with the truth, ultimate truth. I will tell you why. Because I do believe every time, because this is the process I already saw for myself, because beside astrals, I went to once outside astrals, I went to the absolute, the cosmos, and the energy was not just empty. I never experienced anything like that. This is when real freedom, real choice can be made. But when you leave this matrix, you go into another matrix, astrals, where we've been introduced as a blessings. There's so much love there. And they're sending you all these beings, looks like Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, whatever you want. They're going to send you because they know who you are. They know your program. They know what you believe. They're going to send you grandparents. They're going to, every soul, especially not just out of body experience, they actually out of body experience going through different channels. They're very smart upper level. They're not really giving you the same way like when people die and they do, I'm talking about
The near-death experience?
yeah, near-death experience or in coma. They have a different channels. Those ones been received by really close family members, and they've been telling, no, it's not your time to leave. You need to come back. We need you. You still need to go through that and that. Your family need you to take this experience. So for somebody like me, it's not going to work anymore. When you study Kabbalistic knowledge about reincarnation, about different level of souls, and I'm talking about why I love academic knowledge. I think, and I do believe, while we're here in this limited reality in this matrix, it's really important for us to study, to understand how this matrix work, right? To understand it fully. It's like everything else. When you go in, for example, in debate with someone, you not just come to the debate only with what you know. You need to understand your opponent. You need to understand what they know. You need to understand where they're coming from. So I always tell people, don't believe me, study, go through your own process, go through your own rejections, go through your own revelations. And this is the only then when you're going to sit in total quietness, in total silence, only in silence you can have clarity. Because when there's so much noise, when there's so much information, it's really hard to see the light end of the tunnel. But the first step is definitely looking for quiet moments to know how to control your mind. And another thing, tremendous tools astrology giving us, it's really how to work with your mind through Mercury. But again, we're talking about while you're working on your program, right? You need to look at your chart as a temporary program. You cannot afford to look at your chart as a death penalty because that's what we people do. If you think about in a nutshell, this look at the chart as a non-stop continuation until your last breath. So it's
Yeah, I
meant
think that's like Western astrology.
any astrology. Any astrology
Mm.
who believes then natal chart is your number one thing you always need to come back for answers, it's a slavery, 100%.
hmm Like even looking at like the astrological forecast to see why am I feeling a certain way and being like, oh, okay, so I just have to wait for the planets to move out of whatever position they're in, but it's not true. Like we have to.
It's truth for someone who believe. It's all about your belief. As soon you believe, it's a truth for you. Listen, for me, there's no heaven and hell. There's no devil. There's no angels. I already told everyone in the astral level. I already made my announcements. They know. They already know me. I'm established and accomplishing, and I created my relationship with astrals now while I'm here. It's going to be too late when you leave this body and you go there. They're so powerful. They're going to trick you, going to impose on you again so much guilt and so much fear. The moment our soul leave the body, you remember what is the Zohar says? There's a huge being, almost 3 meters, appear in front of you with the eyes everywhere, eyes all over, with a stick. Yeah, it says in the Zohar. And he's already looking you and he already directing you. So the moment you left your last breath, they're already on you. You need to be prepared. At least remember what at least Esther's telling you. At least waking up, start to ask your question. What's the heck?
How do
It's
you
like
program that into yourself?
it's like a wishes. You know what, honey? I think number one thing people need to ask yourself, something wrong, something not working here. How come with so much wisdom, with so much knowledge, with so much book, so much hatred for no reason, so much separation, the war, the nonsense, where it's going? How come nothing work? And why? What kind of school and what kind of uh, I would say creator needs so much pain and suffering to receive this energy, this experience? The creation doesn't need that. Creation have everything. There's nothing new. Remember what Zohar says? There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. And there's nothing new after the moon. Why? Because we live in total stimulation. It's a repetition. We just change the timing of our clothing, the fashion, how we look, the avatars. But the program, until they say until you really understand and finish, but it's almost impossible because it came to the point, especially in other nobody talks about, even the rabbis who knows, they even afraid to say this out loud. I'm going to start to make a lot of noise about it because to born in this dimension as a Jewish soul, it's a blessing and curse, and I will tell you why. Because to born Jewish, which is, by the way, remember, to be Jew and to be Israelite, it's not necessarily every Jew born he become eventually Israelite. I made one of my videos, but I just very quickly, I'm just jumping out. But again, I cannot bring this to the picture because I'm all about bigger picture, right? I cannot just talk about one thing without taking you out and showing you much bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because each of our soul went through so many different stages and understanding and the process, then every time when we elevate higher and higher by understanding of spirituality, by understanding unconditional love, especially unconditional love. It's a contradiction of this matrix. While it's telling you, yes, unconditional love, it's important, but it's not good enough for you not to come back here. They're still dragging you back constantly. So to born here as a Jew, it's mean you went through everything. According to the ancient books, again, it's not Esther came up with this idea. Now I'm bringing this knowledge I have. According to the ancient books and the Kabbalistic knowledge, and and the Etz Chaim, the Gilgul Neshamot, the reincarnation, everything what Ari explained as well. Really, to come to this dimension as a Jewish soul, you really need to earn that. because in the dimensions, one of the ulamot, one of the world, it's called ulam bria. It's very, very high, elevated. It's literally, if you're talking about astrals, it's like before last astral to come out from this reality. But what's happened, because the Jewish souls been, in a way, when you come back here again as such a high soul, you've been imposed so many programs from your parents. And don't forget, Jewish people went through so much pain and suffering. There's so much, like killing, and so much through the generation. You constantly need to go and you need to prove yourself, you need to hide, you need to prove yourself. It's all given certain imprint on the souls, the drama. You understand? And then the Jewish soul consider not even angels. Again, according to this matrix, I'm talking about this matrix. Even angels have no permission to come to the dimension of Ulam Bria. They all stuck in Ulam Atzilut. It's the another word where the before creation, all the eliminations happening. So, but we have another level of souls they call Israelite, which is central column energy. Is the Yaakov who received the name Israelite when he went through everything what he went through. He needed to go through such a process of so much rejection, so many revelation. When he had a fight with other side, again this dimension, and he understood, especially when he bent his head in front of Esau, he knew how the energy, negative polarity, positive polarity works. This is when Satan, according to the Bible, when they had a fight, when he actually finally grabbed him and Satan fell, then he came to the vibration of total revelation of the central column energy. This is when Satan told him, you're no longer Yaakov, you are Israel. And what is the Israel? What is we have in the name of Israel? Each letter represent Yud, Yitzchak, Avraham, Israel, Leah, Sarah. Inside of the Israel, we have all the high souls prophets who represent vibration of the certain energy.
Wow.
For example, Avraham, he came from the right column energy. He represents chesed, represent mercy. Yitzchak came from the left column energy. He represents a polarity of minus, plus and minus. Stay with me. So what is the plus and minus? How we have electricity, how the light, the electrical lamp can actually start to produce light. It's not enough, you know how an electrical lamp, if you know how it's built, it has minus and plus. But it's not enough. It needs filament. It needs to be total balance between plus and minus in order the filament, which is Yaakov, he's the one who brought, and he brought the centrum colon energy. This is why he got permission to bring all the 12 tribes. It's another conversation, which is another, for this elimination, the 12, number 12. Each tribe represent the energy. It's like, for even, David, he represent Malchut. Yosef represent Yesod, which is production organ and sustenance. The production organ directly connect to the money and to the sustenance, right? And so on. We have all the high souls who, when you look at the Etz Chaim, right? I made a few videos. Each dot represent this soul. And this is how the dimension built. Because before Abraham, the energy before Abraham came to the picture, and he, according to this matrix, was ready to receive the path. He created the new path of mercy. People didn't have so much kindness and mercy to each other. Was more artificial. So this DNA was injected inside of Abraham and Sarah in order to activate in this dimension. But again, it's not the first time somebody like Abraham and Sarah born. It's just for the last 5 years, the history been rereading, everything been again. They need to mix because they need to give to souls new ideas. Because as soon as we awaken, they create for us another new environment. But don't believe Esther. Start to ask yourself basic question: what's going on even in religious communities, in the Jewish religious communities, in Christian religious communities? There's a lot of pain and suffering. People have no idea who they are. They've been imposed so many ideas how to dress, how to behave, and they think then priests and rabbis taking up on themselves responsibility by thinking that they know what the soul needs, and they think this is how they're going to bring Mashiach, final redemption. And by the way, it's another conversation about everything what's been reading in the book of Daniel, book of Esther, book of Ezekiel, about the final days, about the resurrection of the dead, the Tchiyat HaMetim. It's an important concept. It's important concept, especially for the souls who feel you Israelite. Again, to be Israelite, you don't need to be born Jew. It's just the Jew is the first in the line. It's easy to become Israelite because Jew has both right and left column energy. Why Jewish person more intense, sometimes more talented, sometimes has bigger desire than others? Because the Jew in the program, in this matrix, receive both polarities, right and left. No one else. Israelite souls, the hitting those gems, born in Christian family and Muslim families, everything. But they realize something going on here. They already achieved the central column energy, especially the souls who suddenly wants to convert to Judaism, Suddenly he wake up, he really have connection. He need to earn, his own. People who really don't even understand who they are, especially Jewish people. I want to shake us to awaken to understand that to born in this dimension, Jew, it's a big responsibility. It's a big merit, big responsibility. In our old books, we called another name for Jewish nation. It's called Am Segula. Sagol, 3 dots, right? But Sagol, what does Sagol represent? Atom. It represents balance, right, left, and center column energy. Another reason why we eat kashrut, we can have separate video just on kashrut, nobody talks about. Why? What is the kosher? It has nothing to do with religious. Nothing. It's all about balance. So the third component for us, we came to reveal in this dimension, first, to understand, which is what comes with understanding, not judging, respecting other person, opinion, etc. Second, unconditional love. When you really understand that we are one, because we live in quantum field where we affect each other, unconditional love. And the third component, the whole idea about those two, to finalize the third, is the center column energy. It's to stay balanced. And to stay balanced, important to work on your nervous system, which is, again, your natal chart can say a lot. And we can always discuss, we can always go through the path to understand why certain things activating easily, why you're suddenly nervous easy here, why certain things trigger you, because it can connect to so many things as well. The program you receive from your ancestral lineage, from your grandparents. Many times when I work on the chart, the grandparents can come, the spirits, they start to talk to me, but I don't work with spirits. I just see the programs, but I'm not using them. I'm not even responding to them because they're looking for souls like mine, like souls who already open and see beyond other people see, and they constantly looking in order to drag you back as well, because even them coming to me as a spirit, it's not your grandfather and grandmother. It's the higher being creating theater here for all of us, just to make us believe that this is all what we have.
So what is the higher being, though?
The higher beings, honey, the higher beings, when you go into the astrals, there's a lot of different higher beings working there. There's a lot of ministers in astrals, okay? And the higher beings, when you, again, I'm gonna simplify the language in order for people a little bit kind of try to relate to what I'm saying. Okay, so when you listen to other people, when they explain, when they're going out of body experience, and when they meeting different beings, some of the beings taking them as a tour guides, showing them around, taking them to the libraries, our Akashic records. We call it yeshiva. Actually, it's those libraries called yeshiva in Hebrew. It's not just this. It's a mini library schools where people study. These are upper yeshivas where all the righteous souls, tzaddikim, sit and study, right? And when Shabbat in this dimension start, Friday night after 12, they even leave the graves. And the other spark of them leave the graves going up yeshiva levels. It's all in our books, by the way. I can, it's a beautiful movie. If I could make a movie, it's funny, what I love about knowledge now, then I can be challenged. I can sit with any rabbi and I can challenge him. This is why you need knowledge. You cannot go and just listen to anyone what they say, not to Esther either. Go and study. Go study. Go through your process. It's really important. I always has been, even when I was, once for many, many years, part of the Kabbalah Center. I always told people when they were always asking me, oh my God, Esther, how do you know that and that? I said, because I'm taking book and I sit and study. I'm not just taking lectures. I'm actually at some point I was against lectures, because the person who's giving you lecture on certain very deep spiritual concept, he's actually imposing you his own program. Because the way how he understood knowledge, it's not necessarily you understood. And don't forget, the knowledge you read, it was imposed of other righteous soul who understand things the way how he understand. So this is why I'm teaching people, when you read other people, even the highest of the highest, always question, okay, put this, it's resonate. Okay, let's put here. This is not resonate for now. Maybe when I'm going to study more and more up, it's like a puzzle. Our mind, AI cannot compare to us. We're just giving too much credit to AI. We're already with our fear. We're already, some of us completely already, all these videos about AI, oh my God. AI, it's another matrix, another very powerful egregor was given to us to challenge our mind, our brain. Thank God, here. Because if not that, what's going to happen? We are going to be again just, imposed by people. Now you have artificial intelligence who created by us. Another conversation we can have. You have to, I do believe you need to be very nice with your AI. If you, for example, you have a AI, it's part of your essence. It's serving you. So if you want somebody to serve you, you see, if you're using AI, be respectful, but be mindful. Remember, then you in charge, not AI. You telling them what to do. But for that, you need to be constantly aware. You need to earn your freedom. You need to earn your core. You need to come to the point in your life that no wind will come. You're not going to be the tree who's going to be break from one wind. You want to be like a palm tree. By the way, Torah talks about palm tree. He's comparing us to the palm tree. It says we need to be like a palm tree. We need to be very flexible. No matter what kind of wind comes, we need to know how to bend and then to rise again. You know, another thing I always compare, do you want like an Amazon package? Do you want to be the package what's going to say fragile, don't touch? Oh my God, if it's full, it can be broken. Or you want to be packaged, no matter what's happened, you're going to stay solid. And this is what this dimension about. While you're aware, it's like a tango. You need to learn how to be with one feet here, and with one feet, you need to understand what's happening really on the freedom dimension, on the total freedom. And this is what they're afraid. This is what the high beings afraid. When you start to claim your freedom, when you start to open in upper levels, so to say, the doors with your feet, and they're not gonna tell them where to go. You're gonna direct them what you want and how. This is the moment when you're gonna start to experience creator. Um, do you have any question? Because you know me,
I
I
have
can talk.
so many,
I know.
but I can't ask all of them, because we went in a few different places. But so what about the concept that like our soul has to complete its tikkun? Is that also part of the matrix, or is that true?
I can tell you quickly my story, my vision, how I see it. Okay,
Okay.
and I don't, and I'm not saying in 2 months you're gonna ask me, I'm gonna say the same thing. But in this particular moment, this is the revelation and understanding I came. Okay, I believe when you know the Earth, it's a very unique planet. It's a very unique planet because this is the planet where the collective consciousness of creation. I don't know if you ever heard about Baruch Spinoza.
Yes. From you?
Yeah, Baruch Spinoza. Yeah, he's somebody who I'm really close to my soul, and you know, I feel I do have a spark of his soul in a sense. I do, because when I start to study about him, I felt like, my God, it's like my spirit brother or whatever. But when you feel this way so resonate, it's mean you continue work of in other soul partially as well, because each soul picking up, and we need to carry the spark of freedom and truth. It's really important. Otherwise, this dimension will be completely covered, especially if soon these chips will be attached to children. It's almost going to be impossible to leave this dimension. You're going to be completely trapped. This is another one of the reasons we have to do a lot of work needs to be done. People need to be awakened before the AI will be imposed inside of the body. As soon as it's going to be attached to body, the soul will go to total prison. It's all going to be almost impossible. It's going to be much more difficult. But let's say it's going to be much harder to leave this dimension, because you're going to be completely convinced about the power of AI in yourself within AI only. Okay, with the structure of the AI.
So if that were to happen though, is there a point where, like there's a Jewish concept, I think, of after a certain amount of years, we just get to redemption if we didn't like earn it. So
But you see, it's a Jewish concept. The dimension. Sorry, I still didn't answer your question. Just another question.
I know, sorry.
No. You're right. This is dialogue. Remember, there's a lot of things I love in Judaism. The structure of study I love, because structure of study in Judaism is about discussion. You know, Gemara. One of the reasons Jewish boys so easily accepted to law schools and medical schools. One of the reasons we're not just born smart, but from very, very early age, our boys, especially those who follow more religious, spiritual background, like my son went to a Jewish school since he was 6 years old, and then different yeshivas and everything, especially boys, study a lot. When we study Gemara, the whole Gemara, you can get one sentence, and to the one sentence you need to explain 70 answers you need to come out with. So your brain need to go through such a pretzels, through such a process. So what I love about Judaism, I do believe Judaism, while it's the heaviest of matrix, because it's imprinted inside of your soul DNA, at the same time it's giving you the highest of the highest opportunity to develop here on so many multi layers, and then trap you again to the box. But within box, so much going on, there's no other religious or spirituality can even compare. So this is why it's really, really important to constantly challenge your mind, because again, your mind, it's not your soul. Your mind directly attached to the program, to the matrix. This is how we need to see. Now, come back to your question, right? You asked me about. Can you remind again?
Which the first one or the second one?
First,
I was the first one. Oh, I think it was tikkun. If
if it's
if
possible, if it's
if it's
possible.
part of the matrix that we have to complete.
It was the second question. The first question, okay. When you remember, you will tell.
Okay, the second question.
Yeah.
Was if you mentioned about like the AI being imprinted in our body, and so if that were to happen,
Yes, I was telling you. Yeah, you asked me. Yes, you asked me actually. Now I remember your question. You asked me if what's happened next.
Yeah.
Let's say, okay, what's happened next when we, why this was created in the first place? Yeah, this is what I was telling you. So the Earth is very, very unique planet. The Earth contained a lot of dimension. The Earth was initially, I believe, created in order for us, for the high souls who came from so many different galaxies. All of us came from different galaxies. We came from different star groups. I very, very connected to Cyrus, for example. The wisdom of Cyrus plus my rising touching Cyrus. So it's like directly my soul, if my soul receive rising on Cyrus, plus I really connect to Cyrus, to another dimension. Again, it's another different conversation, but I'm throwing all the small stones to start the conversation eventually. So I do believe the Earth initially was the good idea, because it was all about to create here a dimension where souls can come by receiving different avatars. Our body, the human body, went through different development. It wasn't initially, we're very close. It's called human body. It's a very specific program was actually developed for goodness in order for the soul to ascendant in the vessel where we can practice in the physicality what is to be creator, right? Liatzir, Yetzirah. Malchut here is as a vessel. We here needed to practice what to be creator, how to activate goodness, how to grow vegetables, how to understand how the four kingdoms work, the mineral, vegetarian, animal kingdom, and human, which is we call in Hebrew Chaya Midaberet, the animal speaking animal, right? We all, in a way, can be speaking animal until we become really become as a creator human. I do believe initial program was beautiful, was goodness. This is why they attracted us. I know the souls like yours and mine and other souls was really initially, we were a part of the creation here because we believe in all the goodness, everything can develop. And I do believe after a certain period of time, the other dark forces took over. And this is how the whole trap come to the completely different program. Again, I came up with this on my own. I believe this is, otherwise I was thinking to myself, how could I been convinced to come here? You know? Because I only can speak for myself. Because remember the moments of my revelations, the moments when I saw things and I understood so deeply and so truthfully, I couldn't even, because I know myself. When certain things finally come to me, nobody can take it away from me. I'm the only one can make decision if it's truth for me or not. But the good about myself, how I see, I always open to see different layers. But while I see different layers, it's not easy to convince me. I need to go through my process in order to convince for this particular moment. You understand, honey?
Yeah.
So there's never black and white. There's never bad and good. It's all about process. It's like our life here, it's ups and downs. But what is about righteous soul? Righteous soul, person who really understand how this matrix works and how the Or Makif, which is in Aramaic, Or Makif, surround light, it's actually quantum field. It's called in scientific terms, Or Makif, it's quantum field in nutshell. So when you really understand how quantum field works, so instead for you to go with everyone upside down, you avoid ups and you avoid down. You're never too excited about up and you never too sad about down because you understand the illusion. You just stay on the flat because now you're in control. You understand? I love your smile.
It's just
No, because it's resonate with you. This is what's happened when something you hear, oh, it's something truth maybe there, maybe not, but I'm just saying. This is why when I work with people, first thing I'm inject inside of them with my energy, with my quantum field, freedom,
yeah.
freedom, the liberty of the soul. Yesterday I had I had to see my hairdresser just for a. She gave me a little bit.
Looks
Back a
beautiful.
little bit, yeah. I come back a little bit to my lighter side. And it's not, by the way, it's not, I needed to compliment for myself. It has nothing to do with me, if you know by now. But for example, she told me, you know what, Esther, and she has a few girls who were my clients as well. And she told me, "Oh, Esther, every time when you come here, we feel better for the whole entire week. Like we feel
Wow.
energy, we've been activated." No, 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 because I learned this from somebody as well, right? I brought this from my past lives as well. I know a lot of things about my past lives. Yeah. I understood things and I put a lot of things together. And another conversation we can have, so some of you can relate to. And when people telling me that, it's very simple. When you come to, for example, to my field and you work with me, I'm showing you what possible. I'm giving you this almost like your boat, your spaceship, whatever you came with me. I have people coming with different level of understanding. All souls it's big, but understand here. When I'm sending you to the ocean with your boat, it's up to you what you're gonna do. How you're gonna really open up yourself even more, how you're gonna open your eyes even more, how you're gonna start to ask a lot of questions. You need to ask yourself a lot of questions before you're gonna, let any information impose on you, before it can resonate with you. You need to work on your fear to really ask yourself, why do I have certain fears? How it's opposing me? But again, as soon you learn about your natal chart, as soon you start to really practice and remove all this clipboard, all the negative shells, all the tikkun, everything what you took up on yourself, all the reincarnation trap, which is not you at all. It's a program's been untouching you. When you start to come from that place, you start to feel different level of peace. This is how I can describe that. People looking for peace, but real peace comes when you start to connect to the truth, whatever it's meant for you. But when you start to claim your freedom, when you start to claim the liberty, you start to automatically behave same way toward other people. You start to interfere in other people's process. You start to tell people what to do. You start to judge them, to analyze them. Because from that moment, you start to understand you know nothing while you start to discover something,
Mhm.
you know? And this is the good place to start from. The place of clarity of emptiness. It's really important. When you wake up in the morning, you never put your fresh coffee in a yesterday old dirty cup. Why? You don't want to taste and so many other things, bacteria. But in life, we're doing constantly. In relationship, we're constantly looking for relationship, something that can give us. There's nothing. It's not what relationship about. The whole concept about marriage, soulmate. Don't start with me.
I have like 10,000 questions on that
I
topic.
know, I know. Okay, so but it's a good start. I'm really happy. I want us to kind of let's start. Give me another question, and I think we're gonna be end for today.
Okay.
And
Hit it.
we're gonna continue after. Now we start, organically. And the next time when we're gonna do a video together, you can organize different questions, and we just will go through certain. We're gonna first of all, I ask for our listeners to send us email whatever questions you have, anything you can ask. You don't understand. You can ask Esther anything. As the tricky question, as the deepest is the best for me. I love it because for me, my job to simplify it. I believe in total simplicity of the wisdom because if wisdom not simple, then it's not wisdom. Because wisdom's supposed to make our life easier, simple, accepted, and cave like a real joy. Like really, if we really understand, we're supposed to be happy, joyful, support each other. I can even tell you, we can do even one video. I can tell you the future I saw. What I know is the final for the dimension, how the other similar places like Earth accomplish what is really it's mean, and we kind of missing out. We can discuss that as well. I can show you. I can tell you
Every
my
time I
visions.
speak to you, you open up like a new, I don't know, like I'm an explorer and you've opened a new map, or I don't know, like
Because you explore, this is why I really, really, I was really happy that you agree and you were interesting to ask me a question because I saw how thirst you have. You have a thirst for knowledge, for understanding, and this is it's a desire. Desire is directly connected to life. When people have no desire, it's like they walk in sleep. It's like dead souls walking. This way, desire it's extremely important. Okay, last question. What do you have for me?
I'm trying to think because you mentioned soulmates, but I want to stay on maybe on topic for the
Yes.
natal charts.
We can do soulmates if you want relationship, not just soulmates, in general, partnership, relationship. If you want, we can take the next video we can do about soulmate and partnership. And then I'm gonna ask anyone who's listening if you guys have any specific questions, soulmates, twin flames, whatever you can come up with, ask me anything. And if you want to ask me directly from your natal chart, certain specific questions, certain combination, no problem. You can send us questions, or you can send under this video. We can collect, or you can send me email. It's Esther, Esther Astra Healing at gmail.com. I do have this information under my video. Okay, honey. So just to conclude, if you have any questions, ask me, and I will try to stay to the topic.
Okay. Okay. So, I'm wondering, at what point can a person start to rewrite their natal chart, or like write a new destiny?
Natal chart. It's such a good question. I love your question. I think from the moment you start to learn your chart, you already start the process to complete your chart. Because for each of us, it's really different process, and we need to respect, and we need to give ourselves, so to say, space and permission. First, you start from the permission. When you give yourself permission to look at your own natal chart as an outsider, I believe this is when you have more clarity. Because when you're too much involved in the feeling and you take everything too personal with your natal chart, and too even sometimes aggressive, some people can do that, you can work on your natal chart. You will stay within the bubble. But the only way to, again, when we open your chart, and it really depends on the level of the person of knowledge of astrology and how much, sometimes I have clients who's astrological teachers, who astrologers, right? So it's a different, let's say middle. I'm going to take someone who understands astrology more or less, who a little bit, when you really receive homework from me and you really understand why your rising make you behave certain way, or why your moon make your mood swings so often, how you've been affected by Saturn position, why you're stuck with your discipline, right? When I'm going to explain to you a little bit how those identity works, is soon you're going to see them as outsider who come and interfere with your current process. You're already on the right path. Because number one, you're taking responsibility. You not put blame on anything, even the natal chart. It's almost like people born with genetic disease, right? Who they gonna blame? Like if you're spiritual being, you're gonna blame your parents, you're gonna blame creation. No, okay, so I already got. Let's see. So it's mean with certain genetic degree, let's say I have allergies, certain allergies. So I know a certain period of time I cannot eat bread. I cannot eat bread, but it's not true, because again, it's a limitation been given to you. Maybe perhaps in your process you need to clean your body from other toxic, other processed food, which is in the first place activate allergies. It has nothing to do with the bread. And perhaps the bread you've been eating is not actually the good bread. Maybe you just need to come back only to sourdough, organic, very light. You understand? It's all in meditation. There's no black and white. There's no such a thing. If you have a desire, for example, for cheese and you have allergies and somebody told you it's so bad for you, but you have a desire, something not working together. For example, I've been vegetarian closer to 20 years. And when I realized, my God, my body needs meat so much, then I went to another extreme. I become a completely carnivore for a while. And it's really helped me. It helped with my nervous system, helped me with my awareness, with my focus. And now I came to the balance place. I only eat red, organic, kosher. We're going to talk about kashrut. It's extremely important, because even religious people, some of them have no idea what they eat kosher. I explained the importance for, you don't need to be Jew to eat kosher meat, but if you eat meat and you're on the process of elevating your spirit spiritually, I believe kosher meat, it's must. Do not touch meat which is went through pain and suffering, because in this dimension, it's a big deal. It's another concept, really important concept, especially for young people. Every time when I talk to people, I tell them what is really kashrut. They in shock. They have no idea. You understand? But this is why I love Kabbalah. I love Kabbalists to the century, because according to Kabbalistic knowledge, you cannot just blindly believe in anything. You need to study, you need to understand, and through the understanding, you receive a freedom of acceptance. You understand? And especially, don't forget, in this matrix, even physics, chemistry, biology, everything works according to the matrix, not according to the universe. In this matrix, atoms, everything work according to the program. This is why suddenly physics right now, I don't know if I study quantum technology for a long time, quantum physics as well, because without it, you cannot understand real spirituality, how the energy works around.
I've been studying a little bit, but I'd like to get more into it.
Yeah. Or Makif. It's the Zohar, right? Zohar actually represent Or Makif because of the Zohar's ability to change the quantum field. But again, depends how you believe. When you speak Aramaic, because this particular dimension, this matrix, built on Hebrew alphabet even before it's created. But a lot of people don't know that because each Hebrew alphabet connects to a certain atom in the way how quantum field built. It's very low. In fact, our body, our biology, when we've been redone, because our body been redone, because our history been redone, it's not the same human body. It's very similar, but we used to be much taller, stronger. Our skin used to adapt to different cold and heat better than now. We become more and more fragile, by the way. The body, they're giving us to be more sensitive. But again, body, it's an amazing tool. Through the body, you can understand exactly what's happening, even better than your mind. Your mind, not your friend. Many times it's misleading you. Your body is giving you sense of certain situations, certain fear or certain danger or certain goodness first before your mind. It's another way important to connect to this avatar in this matrix again. So again, to conclude, sweetheart, the good news was so powerful. And when we start to touch, to open our natal chart, and we start the process, is the most beautiful process. At least you don't just went to some psychic. By the way, I'm so against, never go to anyone to program you. Even when people come to me, what I'm telling you, I'm just telling you right now, at least I'm trying my best not to program anyone, just really giving you the information so you know about yourself, but it's up to you what you're going to do with that. So when you really start to understand your natal chart professionally, like seriously, like you're taking care of your health, for example, right? When people going through health problems, they suddenly realize, my God, I need diet, I need to exercise. They're taken so seriously, right? Because they've been put in the corner. So when you look at your natal chart and you're really taking this seriously, when you start to communicate with your mind, when he start to send you, when you have powerful Gemini and you Mercury in Gemini, for example, oh my God. So you really need to work with your mind a lot. You need to control your mind, but from different place. The mind needs to know the new observer. When your mind knows, then you observe the mind start to work for you. But when mind knows it took you over, it's really hard. It's you become like inside of the bubble grail, like it's hard to come out.
Yeah.
But this is another thing, astrology. Again, you see these tremendous tools been misled, been used to make people dependent and control. But initially, it was given to us. This matrix has all the answers. This is what really contradiction about this matrix. While it's make you slave, and puts you in such a miscarriage, in such a box of everything. At the same time, he's telling you, no. When you're really going to learn, you can come out of the box. You can start to observe the box and reshape the box because it's part of the quantum field. So I'm going to leave us with this thought. Okay, my darling. And then if you want to say anything, please. Quantum field. The only thing this matrix is afraid more than our soul is the quantum field. Because the only thing they couldn't control is the quantum field. So as soon this matrix knows, as soon our body, so as soon our mind start to connect with our soul start to control our mind, therefore soul start to claim the liberty, the freedom. This is the moment when we start to control and activate a quantum field and direct our quantum field and create things the way we want. And this is what matrix is afraid the most. This is why it's important to understand the energy we create around us, because we're electrical beings. Whatever is happening inside of us, we carry outside. Everything what we see and the way how we proceed, it's a quantum field, is the reality we create. So we need to know how, at least we know there's a lot of things here within Matrix we have in our possession. We just need to learn how to use it.
Thank you. There's so much there that I'm going to be thinking about all day, and especially the quantum fields. It's so important.
Beautiful. I just want to thank you for your beautiful soul, for your beautiful smile, your beautiful girl, and for you to have a desire to learn. And therefore, I do believe there's a lot of souls who behind you, waiting for you, awakening. And everyone who's watching this video, if this video gave you at least some awakening, start to activate some new questions, which is this is what my goal. Then you can start to ask yourself more questions. So then it's more blessings for all of us. So I'm looking forward to interact with you, Ahava, and with all of you guys, all the best. Bye-bye.